moving forward with personal goals that require money? What about getting your finances in order ahead of the credit bureau or making some important purchases that can't wait? Fidelity Bank can get you approved in no time without the red tape and runaround. Fidelity offers competitive interest rates and minimal fees. The loan you can afford and depend on is just a phone call away. Call Fidelity Bank in Nassau 356-7764 or Freeport 352-6677 to get started now. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Did you know that you can submit your Caribbean Bottling Company beverage orders via email? There is no need to pick up the phone to reach the Caribbean Bottling Company customer service team. Simply email customer service at cbcbahamas.com for all your...
This is the ZNS Network, providing radio and high-definition television services for the entire Bahamas. ZNS Network is operated by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. It is located at Harcourt Rusty Bethel Drive, Centerville, Nassau. Our programming is designed to inform, educate, and entertain. We invite you to join us.
An ominous warning about COVID-19. BPL's head office reopens following a COVID scare, and a Cable Beach resort celebrates by giving back in financially taxing times. Good morning, everyone. I'm Akushla Pindo with your morning edition. Well, 6 weeks after the first confirmed COVID-19 case here in the Bahamas, and the anxiety and fear surrounding the global pandemic remains high, and this particularly in the face of a recent warning that a second wave of the potentially deadly disease could be even worse. An airy prediction from the Centers for Disease Control, which pegs the same time as the flu. This in itself has prompted CDC Director Robert Redfield to urge the continuance of social distancing measures to stave off the spread of the virus. Well, our Lloyd Allen spoke with Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands this morning, who responded this way to the CDC's warning.
We list confirmed cases to date. So in the Bahamas, we've now had 65 confirmed cases to date. We then have a category of persons that have died, that's obvious, from COVID-19. And then you have the number of people who have recovered clinically and have had no evidence of viral shedding by testing. Now, not everybody who is recovering gets tested. There are clinical means of determining recovered, and there are laboratory means of determining recovered. But typically, it's about 4 to 6 weeks after an inpatient hospitalization for COVID to see laboratory-confirmed recovery. So the same way we have to confirm that you're a case, we have to confirm that you're recovered. The first case of COVID diagnosed in the Bahamas in the lab was on March the 15th. Today, we're not even 6 weeks from that point. We're up to 12 recovered cases. We expect that there will be more. But you have heard and seen around the world that if you make the designation prematurely, you may be subjecting persons to risk.
yesterday, BPL reporting some level of exposure to COVID-19 and their employees. What do you know of this development, and how are health officials addressing this issue?
So we have reliable information that a person confirmed with COVID and her family member would have gone to BPL ostensibly to pay a bill. That is clearly not what ought to have happened. If you are in quarantine, there's no reason for you to go out. And particularly given the fact that BPL has made it very clear that if you have a COVID-related problem, that they will grant special exception. People want to get outside. They want to go for a drive. Oh, this won't hurt. Yes, it could potentially hurt. And so now we have an entire office that has to be sanitized because, unfortunately, somebody did something that was unreasonable and inappropriate.
You alluded to it earlier, but again, brief us on the islands here in the country where cases exist of COVID-19 or persons still in quarantine.
The majority of persons in quarantine are in New Providence, followed by Grand Bahama, and then Bimini and Cat Key. Many of the persons who are quarantined in Cat Key are no longer quarantined. And the majority, if not all, I need to confirm this with my surveillance staff, in Bimini should now have completed their quarantine. So the majority exist in New Providence, then secondarily Grand Bahama.
You previously mentioned Eleuthera. Is that island still being quarantined at any level?
I am not aware of anybody that is in active quarantine in Eleuthera today.
Well, the minister's comments come on the heels, as you just heard, of the Bahamas confirming an additional COVID-19 case on Tuesday after a 36-year-old New Providence man with no history of travel was admitted to hospital. Now, as in the case of all such cases, this one is being investigated as health officials continue to follow the condition of the others. That includes 56 confirmed cases in New Providence, 7 in Grand Bahama, 1 each in Cat Key and Bimini, giving a total again of 65. Globally, that number has reached 2.5 million, 178,000+ deaths, according to Worldometer. Well, the country's National Reference Laboratory has been in the news quite a bit with the current COVID-19 testing underway. Our Julian Reed speaks with its director, Dr. Indiria Martin.
And, everyone's hearing hearing about the reference laboratory, but what is it really, and what is your entire scope?
Okay, so the reference laboratory is a laboratory that comes under the Ministry of Health. It was begun some years back as part of the HIV research effort by Dr. Perry Gomez during the late 90s, I believe it was. And building upon those earlier works in HIV, we then expanded the scope of our work to arboviruses. So arboviruses include things like dengue, chikungunya, Zika, and so on. And from there, again, under Dr. Gomez, I have to give him props for this because it was very visionary, I think. He was the one who was the Minister of the Health at the time who actually got the instrument that we're now using for COVID testing. Oh, wow. So the scope has now expanded from HIV to arbovirus testing and now to COVID testing. And basically we use a molecular focus to identify various viruses using PCR technology.
Great. So what happens now? The actual test is done on a patient. They have the swabs stuck in their nasal cavity, which seems so uncomfortable. But right. And what happens after that? Whatever is on that swab is put in a tube and brought to the lab.
Right. So after the swab is collected, we then perform PCR testing on it. And PCR testing is a really multi-component, multi-step process. The first thing we would do is we want to isolate the viral genetic material, because the whole thing about PCR is that it uses information about the viral genetic sequence to detect that particular virus with that particular sequence And so once the swab comes, we need to take out that genetic material and extract it. And then from there, we subject it to what's called amplification on the PCR instrument. And if the initial swab did have some viral genetic material from COVID, then we would expect to see that the PCR would show a positive result in those patients because it would detect it.
How long does that process take? It seems like it's quite complicated.
It takes a while. The process itself takes about 8 hours, but with the analysis and reporting, it can be up to 24 hours. And this is pretty much a universal thing. It's a very complex test. So even throughout the world, you'll find it's very hard to get less than a 24-hour turnaround. You know, usually people would say more like 2 to 4 days turnaround if it gets bad, you know.
Now, the lab there is highly accredited, isn't it? Because we keep hearing that it's fully accredited. Can you explain how we're accredited and where we're accredited?
Sure. We were the first lab in the Bahamas to become accredited, first medical lab to become internationally accredited, and that was in 2013. We became accredited by the College of American Pathologists, and we just actually got reaccredited just this last year in 2019. And that was our fourth one, I think. Every 2 years we're reaccredited.
How large is your team?
At the moment, 10. There's 10 of us, including not just technical staff, but also, you know, the full scope of staff. And
since the COVID-19 outbreak here in the Bahamas, since it hit the Bahamas last month, March, I think it was, March 15th or thereabouts, how many tests have you actually carried out?
Oh, wow. Off the top of my head, I would have to double check the numbers because the thing is that we also, as is known, we also perform testing for example, Turks and Caicos, so I'd have to deduct those and so on and so forth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So ballpark, I'd say a little over 500, perhaps. And the thing is that, of course, we have to ensure that the most at-risk persons are tested first. So that's what we've been doing.
Dr. Indira Martin, the director of the country's National Reference Lab, speaking with our Julian Reed. Over in Grand Bahama, the fight continues to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And while there has been no new cases in the past 2 weeks, health officials say we are not in the clear just yet. The island's chairperson for Health Services COVID-19 Task Force provides this update. Here's Ramiko Knowles.
The number of cases in Grand Bahama stands at 7. Chairperson of the Grand Bahama Task Force Health Services, Frank Bartlett, says it is unfortunate that 2 persons died and notes that the remaining 5 patients testing positive for COVID-19 showed mild symptoms and did not require extended hospitalization.
The 2 persons that were deceased were an 80-year-old male. He would have been in hospital for several days prior to this being deceased on April 4th. The second was a 51-year-old female who passed on April 6th. All of the other patients who have tested positive have been managed at home, and they're doing very, very well at home. One of the cases that are reported in the Grand Bahama figures is a patient that would have been transferred from Freeport into Nassau, so we're not having any direct care in that patient. But otherwise, our patients so far are doing very, very well.
The island's latest patient testing positive for COVID-19 is a 25-year-old male and is the son of the deceased patient that passed on April 6th. Bartlett says he too is doing well and should be released later this week.
One of the things we want to reiterate from Grand Bahama Health Services is that even though we have only 7 patients, this is no time to be relaxing our public health and our social measures. The public health measures basically means that you still want to be doing hand washing, the cough etiquette. We are required to wear a mask whenever we're out in public, and we want to make sure we adhere to that part of it. As it relates to social measures, we want to enforce, again, minimizing travel. We're supposed to be on lockdown. We want to be making sure that we maintain our social distance. That has been reiterated over and over by from the political side and also from the health arena.
Now, while the lockdown measures seem to be having a positive impact mitigating community spread, Bartlett says there are some challenges and they're in need of the public's assistance.
At times when we are called from home, we don't get a very clear representation as to what the call is about. And sometimes the calls, we get a call, for example, for some minor ailment to find that they would have had chest pain or shortness of breath. Or we find that when they're being interviewed, the story is completely different from what they would have given the ambulance department. The healthcare workers are on the front line. They need to know exactly what they're dealing with when they go to pick up patients. So it's very, very important that as much as possible you represent exactly what the problem is when you are calling for assistance from the healthcare workers.
Over the past 2 weeks, he says the majority of calls coming into the health services and EMS hotline has been non-COVID related. On average, he says they may receive about 4 to 6 calls per day with persons complaining about respiratory illnesses. Ramiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Well, still ahead in the morning edition, the National Insurance Board and how it's meeting the needs of thousands during COVID-19. You're with the morning edition. Stay with us.
The Ministry of Health is working to ensure the safety of the Bahamian people. Help us minimize the risk that coronavirus poses to citizens, residents, and visitors by following these 5 easy steps. Step 1. Wet your hands with clean water. Apply soap and lather for 20 seconds by rubbing them together. Include the top of your hands between your fingers and under your fingernails. Rinse your hands under clean water, then dry them with a paper towel or air dry them. Remember to wash your hands before and after eating, preparing a meal, changing a diaper, or caring for the sick, and always after using the bathroom, touching money, shaking hands, or taking out the trash. Step 2. Cough and sneeze in your elbow or upper sleeve, not in your hands, not in the air. Or you can cover your nose and mouth with a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Put your used tissue in the trash bin when you're finished. Remember to wash your hands with soap and clean water after you cough or sneeze. Also, remember never to spit on the ground, roads, or in open spaces. Step 3. Ensure that raw meat is properly handled and cooked thoroughly. Step 4. Avoid sharing drinking glasses, eating utensils like spoons and forks, or sharing personal items such as toothbrushes and towels. Germs can live on surfaces we touch, so wipe and disinfect surfaces where germs can live, and keep your surroundings clean. Step 5. Avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing. Should you or anyone you know feel that you have been exposed to the coronavirus, contact the surveillance unit of the Ministry of Health immediately. To reach us, call 502-4776, 502-4790, or 502-4737. We want Bahamians and those that live with and visit us to remain safe from the coronavirus. To do this, we need the help of each and every one of you to follow the simple steps we have shared. Let's stay safe, Bahamas.
With millions of dollars spent on the National Insurance Board's unemployment benefit, the Government Unemployment Assistance Program, and other initiatives during this pandemic, NIB officials are keeping a hawk eye on those businesses that remain non-compliant or do not regularly pay their employees' contributions. NIB Director Dr. Nicola Virgil-Rolle telling the media during an online Ministry of Finance press conference yesterday that NIB has even in fact paid those delinquent contributions.
As long as they will file their C-10 forms, we will pay the employees. We will go after them in the appropriate form at the appropriate time, as we continue to do. But the important thing is getting persons paid, and I think that's been, the mandate that we've had, and we've carried through that. Compliance is secondary to actual just ensuring that we have the records and then paying persons in a timely basis.
Financial Secretary Marlon Johnson commending NIB's management and staff for the quick processing of thousands of unemployment applications and in a timely manner.
Yesterday, I had occasion to see the situation in Barbados, which is, I always say, the country most comparable to us in a lot of ways in the Caribbean. And they, at least up until yesterday, still had 14,000 unemployment insurance, and they had not processed the first one. Whereas in the Bahamas, it has been 2 weeks since we processed the first one, and as the director said, we already paid, close to 17,000, 18,000 people, if not more, by this date. I see a lot of stories talking about all of the things that didn't happen, but I see very little stories showing where we are compared to other places like Barbados or the great USA, where people still haven't gotten unemployment benefits.
While acting comptroller of the Department of Inland Revenue, Gaynell Rowe, meantime clarifying the terms of government's newly implemented tax credit and tax deferral scheme. Rowe says it's designed to assist employees with a turnover in excess of $3 million annually and a staff complement of 25 people or more to cushion the burden of payroll cost.
Each approved business has a monthly allocation of up to $200,000 for a period of 3 months, April, May, and June, giving a cumulative total of some $600,000 available. The approved tax relief is to make available to businesses on a monthly basis a 50% non-reimbursable credit, some would call it a write-off, of qualifying payroll expense the employer would have for that month. Secondly, to treat the remaining 50% as a deferred finance-free payment plan for payments which will not begin until January 2021.
He added that to facilitate the process, businesses can withhold any business license fees and thereafter any value-added tax owed in the amount of the monthly approved tax relief, commonly called ATR.
Should the ATR be in excess of the current withholdings, it can be applied at any future time. It is important to note, however, that the ATR is calculated monthly based on the non-executive payroll. It's a 50-50 plan and not an option of either or a tax credit or tax deferral. The approved tax release does not have an expiry date for use by the business.
Bahamas Power and Light's Peter I. Bethel building reopens today after an abbreviated workday on Tuesday. BPL's Blue Hill Road headquarters was closed due to the potential exposure a small number of its staff members had with the COVID-19 infected personnel. Staff members were sent home under strict instructions. Furthermore, the recommended anti-infection protocols were said to be followed. BPL's also retained the services of a professional cleaning company to deep clean and fumigate the building overnight. With social distancing in effect and no large gatherings being promoted, the normal things we liked at dinner and movies are only a thought. And as Charles Fisher tells us, the movie industry has been severely impacted.
Since the pandemic hit, it is estimated that the world movie industry has lost over $5 billion. Locally, Fusion Superplex and Galleria have seen losses as well in the millions. Nicolette Eldon, Chief Marketing Officer at Fusion, says, yes, it has dealt a blow.
COVID-19 shifted our reality in the blink of an eye. Fusion Superplex has become a special place for families to connect, friends to meet and hang out. Unfortunately, that also means Fusion is temporarily shut down for the betterment and protection of our staff and our loyal customers.
Persons are now isolated to their homes. That means if you have a Fire Stick, Amazon TV, and Netflix, these avenues are your movie theaters in the comfort of your couch.
There's no doubt that streaming services have changed the landscape of how consumers watch TV. However, most moviegoers look forward to an experience. You can't watch a movie on a 5-story screen at home. And our patrons have come to love and appreciate our 4DX experience. The positive outlook from this is that most Bahamians are cooking home now more than ever, and more families are homeschooling today because the physical classroom has been shut down. More people are exercising in their homes because they cannot venture to gyms or visit parks.
So what happened to those movies that were scheduled to be released within the last 2 months?
Film buffs were anticipating the release of movies such as No Time to Die and Black Widow, which will now be released in November. Top Gun Maverick will be released in December. So we do have lots to look forward to once our doors are open again.
Now the question is that when this is finally over, will moviegoers be rushing back to watch their favorite flicks, or will Netflix, Fire Stick, and Amazon Box still rule?
Initially, there will be those who are cautious, and rightfully so. We have revised our safety standards to be COVID-19 compliant. We're listening to the government and world bodies for best practices. We must protect our country's greatest treasure, its people. We as a country must feel safe when we go out. Bahamians always want a rewarding experience for their loyalty and their hard-earned dollars. Fusion Superplex will provide guidelines for social distancing in each auditorium when experiencing a movie, as well as our restaurants and bars. This will ensure the safety of our patrons and staff. This is a new reality for us all, and it's a process, not a single act.
For the Morning Edition, I'm Charles Fisher.
Well, what a way to celebrate a birthday instead of collecting gifts. A multi-billion-dollar Baha resort yesterday provided much-needed relief to thousands of its strapped employees. With the story, we turn to our report from our Amajal Knowles.
Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, thousands of hotel workers in the country have been made temporarily unemployed, and one mega resort is doing its part to help its employees during this tough time. The Baha Resort today distributing over 1,500 care packages to its associates, something they say will hope to put a smile on some of their faces. Senior Vice President Robert Sands tells us more.
Anniversary since opening. And in addition, our associates have been going through a difficult time with COVID-19, and a number of them are on temporary layoff situation. So we decided to, for two things, give them some special cookies as well as care packages, just to say thank you to them and also to hold them over during this difficult period. And so today we will be distributing some 1,500 plus care packages, and we'll be doing it every day until Friday for our various resorts. Well, the care packages are basically grocery items that they can use in a household that can support them during a period of time. A lot of staple items, a lot of Bahamian key food items, etc.
And those receiving packages did not have to worry about long lines as the process moved smoothly and efficiently throughout its entirety.
It's a seamless operation. We've been doing this from 8 o'clock this morning. We've had no bottlenecks, no queues. Our associates don't come out of their cars. There's social distancing taking place. Everybody involved in the process wear masks and gloves, and it's been quite a beneficial and grateful exercise to our associates, who we really appreciate and wanted to demonstrate our care and concern to them.
We also spoke to some of the workers who indeed were grateful for the gesture.
The package is a really good thing. I think it help a lot of our Bahamian people for the meantime until work.
Well, it's very thoughtful of them, because they don't have to do it. So I personally appreciate it very much. Whatever little it is, however much it is, I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate it, that they're giving back to their co-workers, and I really thank them for that.
You know what? It's greatly appreciated, because you have a lot of companies that are unable to actually provide for their team or their staff members. And we here at Baha, it's unbelievable that you have a team that actually cares about their employees.
For ZNS Network News, I'm Amajal Knowles.
I'll stay with the Morning Edition. Much more coming up for you.
Hi, I'm Stuart Cove, and for many years, I've taken pride in introducing young Bahamians and international visitors to the wonders of our Bahamian underwater world. Our marine ecosystem helps to keep our tourism industry and fisheries sector healthy and lucrative. We must all do our part in protecting it for future generations. And that is why I ensure our staff and customers are taught about the importance of coral reefs. I do this and more to protect our underwater life because I care. Do you?
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, your hottest place on the planet for rims, tints, tires, and auto sales. We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king. Blessed luck. That's how rough riders roll.
Let's stay COVID-free. Remember the 3 S's. Sanitize, social distance, and stay inside.
The Ministry of Health wishes to advise members of the public that prevention is key during this flu season. Practicing good cough hygiene can make the difference between you and your loved ones getting the flu or spreading the influenza virus. Good cough hygiene habits include covering your mouth and nose with a tissue when coughing or sneezing, and proper disposal of the tissue in a trash bin. Coughing or sneezing into your upper sleeve near your inner elbow and not your hands when a tissue is not available. Avoiding the use of handkerchiefs and towels as they hold germs, becoming a nest for the virus. And frequently washing your hands with soap and water, which is listed as one of the most important steps you can take to avoid getting sick and passing the virus on to others. If you have any questions about how to practice good cough hygiene to avoid catching or spreading the flu, contact your nearest community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Nature-based tourism supplies almost $50 million in revenue for Androsians every year. These priceless resources will continue to provide renewable benefits for thousands of people for years to come, as long as we take long-term action to preserve what's rightfully ours. The natural environment has played a vital role in our culture and economy for generations. Let's take care of nature, and nature will take care of us.
Bahamians running into a bit of a challenge finding affordable food, and this particularly considering the repeated call to eat healthy as the strongest defense against the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, in this report, Lloyd Allen shares with us some tips on what you can grow right in your kitchen.
Food security for all Bahamians is an important consideration at this time. And at BAIC, finding what you need to stay healthy is not just available, but also affordable.
We are receiving fresh Bahamian-grown produce every week.
Chairman of the Bahamas Agricultural and Industrial Corporation, Bishop Gregory Colley, says supplies remain available for a variety of food products in from the Family Islands, helping to provide locals with a range of nutrients, keeping them healthy, especially as many are concerned with meeting nutritional requirements amidst COVID-19.
We have no immediate shortage of any items, any produce. We are expecting another shipment between today and tomorrow. And so every week we are receiving freshly produced items from the various Family Islands. So I can assure the Bahamian public in the immediate future, we don't have any shortage. We don't have any need to worry about them getting fresh vegetables.
According to Colley, varieties are rotating weekly based on availability.
We are coming now into the season. Of course, over the last several weeks, we've had, and we continue to have a lot of tomatoes. Our onion season is just blooming now, so we're having quite a bit of onions. We have cucumbers, cabbages. We expect pumpkin to continue to come in, as well as we have zucchini.
Just last week, one case of zucchini was valued at $3. Now, Colley also noted that other items like banana, plantain, cucumber, goat pepper, and bell pepper are included in regular supply. Keeping financial restraints at the forefront of their operations, BAIC is also supplying special boxes of vegetables at a reasonable price. He says at $20 or less, one box could easily feed a family.
We are making food items affordable, available to our Bahamian public and our residents. you can't find. We are selling them at rock bottom prices to ensure that our Bahamians have adequate supply and that we have a outlet for our Bahamian farmers to ensure that they have their a market to sell their goods.
Here in the country, we often speak of the variety of islands as a family. Colley argues that this approach is proving true, especially now as many islands like Andros have stepped up efforts to assist across the board with fresh produce.
But we also have items from Eleuthera. We have Long Island. We get a lot of bananas and pretty soon we'll be into our summer season, so we'll be getting watermelon and that sort of stuff. But these things, we're looking in terms of Cat Island. We get pumpkin and coconuts, which is one of the other items. We also have coconuts, so persons are able to make their dessert.
He says backyard farmers also stand to benefit from quality seed and fertilizer at BAIC's Fish and Farm store, Portiskeet Dock and Gladstone Road, respectively, with microgreens showing unique potential.
You are able to grow those things right in your house. You don't need a whole yard space. They can be grown in your kitchen. And small utensils, you can grow microgreens. They can be produced and ready in 10 days. And they are healthy and nutritious, and so they're able to supplement. You can make your salads and so forth, and they're good. So there are a lot of things that the Bahamian public can also do while we are in this position.
Now, lines at stores nationwide are a challenge, but General Manager at BAIC, Debbie Strawn, says the customer turnover remains relatively short.
Once they come in, it's about 20 to 30 minutes at this time because, we're observing social distancing, and that is key because you have some persons who are checking out and then those persons who are picking up produce.
Reporting for the morning edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Well, in this continuing agriculture and food security series, Desmond Saunders highlights the work of a local farmer who's adding her unique twist to the local farming industry.
It's been a passion of hers for the past 20 years.
Also, when you go to buy organic vegetables, they're extremely high. And when, of course, there was the concern about the vegetables that you now buy, is laced with all kind of insecticide and pesticide. So I decided that I'm going to start growing my vegetables because my mom used to grow vegetables years ago, so I'm used to seeing vegetables grown.
With the threat of COVID-19, Cynthia Ferguson Fowler-Roll, now a retired business administrator, has been busy, even more motivated, putting her heart and hands to good use, planting and harvesting some of the most alluring and savory organic fruits and vegetables.
I have cauliflower, I have broccoli, I have tomatoes, I have bell peppers, I have passion fruit, I have soursop, I have spinach, I have thyme, I have rosemary, I have chives.
Roll is one of many Bahamians expressing a renewed interest in farming. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry in the region. The government spends close to $1 billion annually on food imports. Gardening, or farming as they call it, is an initiative Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, has been promoting for quite some time, particularly now amidst the COVID-19 crisis.
I'm encouraged because I'm seeing the Prime Minister and the Minister of Agriculture pushing this thing. I think it's the way to go. You would save money and you will be healthier.
Roll is now a licensed farmer. She hopes her small farm, enjoyed by close family and friends, will become a major outlet for residents in the community, with a greater focus at reducing the country's food imports. In tomorrow's report, you will hear from the country representative for the Caribbean Agricultural Research and Development Institute, Dr. Michelle Singh, on the region's impact and response to the global pandemic. Desmond Saunders, ZNS Network News.
Well, Georgetown Exuma would have been buzzing with excitement as of this morning for the National Family Island Regatta, as all top sloops and sailing fans were looking forward to the week of activities. Top skipper Stefan Knowles speaking with us this morning on not being able to hoist the sails this week.
A lot of the sailors are very disappointed that we couldn't race this week. A lot of them were looking forward to the competition, the camaraderie, sportsmanship. There's also a lot of new boats that were supposed to participate. We got Lincoln Roll out of Mount Thompson. It is new C-Class, Ms. Rowie. She was supposed to participate in our first National Family Island Regatta. He was very much looking forward to this. Also, I understood that Mr. Dwayne Higgins had a new C-Class that he was very anxious to race, and also Mr. Leander Pender had a Black Point. So a lot of the guys are very disappointed, but we all understand the situation, and we know it's all for our own safety. Hopefully, this storm can pass like every other one, and we can race sooner rather than later. But everybody is in good spirits. We're talking on our chat, reminiscing about the good old days, and hopefully this will pass pretty soon.
Well, in news from the police this morning, a 25-year-old Grand Bahama man's wanted for murder. Armed and dangerous is Kevin Clinton Smith, a.k.a. Blue. Smith's last known address is listed as Bimini Place, Hawksbill. An All Points bulletin puts his height at 5'6" inches tall, his weight at 110 pounds, complexion dark-skinned, build slim, and eye color at dark brown. Anyone with information on the suspect's whereabouts should call the police 911 emergency line. Now for our motivation, here is Pastor Freddie Lang of St. Matthew's Baptist Church in Pelican Point, East Grand Bahama.
God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, will we not fear, though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though the waters thereof roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with the swelling thereof, there is a river. The streams thereof shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her, and that right early. Beloved, God is our source of strength. And even though we are faced with such challenging times right now, remember that God is. Before you know it, this COVID-19 coronavirus would be a thing of the past. But God is. So God bless you, and I'll offer a word of prayer. Father, we thank you. We praise you. You're still high and lifted up. You're still God and God alone. You're still God and God all by yourself. And so we ask that you continue to guide us, protect us, and lead us gently on. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. God bless you.
There's a spark of greatness in each of us. That spark is called personality. Individual gifts and talents provide the fuel to set that spark ablaze. Each child has the right to an education which values their personality and nurtures their talents, while teaching them to be respectful to their parents and their cultures.
Well, we now take you to our Lloyd Allen in the area of the Marathon Mall.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Yes, good morning, Makosha. Good morning, Bahamas. We're giving you your first look at traffic. This one coming in from the area near Marathon and Robinson Road. We're in the parking lot of Kelly's Hardware. As we know, earlier this week, the Prime Minister indicated a soft opening of other areas in the economy. Included in that group are hardware stores. And according to the Prime Minister, the time would be between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Earlier, I spoke with a security officer from Kelly's who indicated that the store opened a few minutes before 8, and that was to facilitate persons here on the line. As you can see behind me, the line wraps around from the main entrance of Kelly's all the way just past the entrance of Island Lock. Of course, we expect that this flow will continue throughout the day as many persons are coming in to get supplies for their homes and or businesses. Within this area, of course, as we have observed, we've seen that traffic is flowing. And so if you need to visit Kelly's, of course, you can do so smoothly. Parking is still available. And while there are many persons out here, they are having a steady progress of persons on the inside. And that line is moving nice and smoothly. On the way here as well, we noticed a few insurance companies still having those lines. And of course, that is expected to continue under this COVID-19 pandemic. Reporting here from Kelly's Robinson Road, Lloyd Allen for the Morning Edition.
Well, thank you, Lloyd. Now to your morning workout session designed especially for our seniors. Here's Natasha Brown.
Hi, good morning. Recycle teenagers, get ready. You should have your chair and towel because I requested that yesterday. Good morning again to everybody. You know, it is an awesome day to be alive. We've got strength. Oh, God, we've got a good bit of health. And we've got a lot for this coronavirus. Yes, let's go ahead and get started and just march in place right here. Yeah. Yeah. You should be feeling good in your body. And if you are, let's just take the shoulders and press it to the back. Yeah. Remember now, you are recycled teenagers. Yes, let's step out here. Step out. Right. We've got 8 more. I've got an awesome workout for you, yeah. And I want to say a special good morning to Miss Boat and Miss Thelma, yeah. 8 more seconds. 7, 6, 5. We got stretches coming up. 4 more times. 3, 2, and 1. Let's stand still. Take the right hand across the chest. And if you still want to bounce with it, go ahead and do so. For 4 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Take the left arm around the chest. Yeah, let's warm up the body. For 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Take the hand at the back and pull away from the body. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the right foot across to the other side. Lay the toes in so that we can warm up our feet. Now let's switch. Take the left foot over. Lay the toes inward. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now let's swing both hands to the side. Yeah. That's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Leg 3, 2, 1. March in place right hip. Nice and strong. Turn. Take it to the back. Left turn. Turn back to the front. Now out. Heel. 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 Yeah, heel. Now at the arm. Take it. Press the arm. Okay. Yes. 8 more times. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. Get 1. At those feet with the elbow right. Yeah. And then you're going to take it to the chair for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Get your chair and bring it up. Yeah. Let's turn it sideways. If you've got your towel, keep it on top of the chair. Let's go ahead and sit. Make sure you're comfortable. Hands up top, elbows out to the side. Your core is nice and tight. We're gonna lean forward. Bring it up. 7. Bring it up. 6. Bring it up. 5. Up. 4. Bring it up. 3. Raise. 2. I need 1 more. 1. Now at the knee. Take the elbow to the knee again. Yes. I need 4 more. 4. 3. 2. And 1.
ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Watch our live channel to keep up with what's going on in the nation. News updates, we've got you covered. Tune into our radio stations with just a swipe. On the road, on the go, we're here with you. Available for download on the App Store and the Google Play Store.
What I love most about working for the Bahamas Tonight is that we don't only focus on New Providence. We cover the entire Bahamas. We have a team here in the Northern Bahamas that is ready to bring you the stories, the people, and the news that matter to you. From point A to Z, and covering hurricanes to elections and everything in between.
This weather report is sponsored by Bank of the Bahamas, the bank of solutions.
In your weather forecast this morning, a weak cold front over the northwest Bahamas will continue to advance southeastwards as a high pressure builds in its wake today. In the northwest and central Bahamas, the weather's partly sunny and warm with isolated showers in the vicinity of the frontal boundary. Winds north to northwest to north-northeast at 10 knots or less, falling light and variable in the central Bahamas in the early morning hours, shifting northeast to east at 10 to 15 knots by this afternoon. Seas 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. In the southeast Bahamas, weather cloudy, hot and humid with the chance of isolated showers this afternoon. Winds variable at 10 knots or less, seas 1 to 3 feet over the ocean. There's a daytime high temperature of 89 degrees Fahrenheit and an overnight low temperature of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, we thank you for, well, now time for a little pick-me-upper, and for that we turn to those home videos.
Listen, everybody. Coronavirus is serious. Please listen to your doctors. Please watch the news. Please stay indoors. Please social distance. Please wash your hands. Please put on your mask. We can do this, and I'm Elise Smith. I approve this message.
Hello, my name is Alekana, and I am a first grade student from St. Andrews Anglican School, and I just want to say thank you to all the essential workers. Thank you, essential workers.
Everybody, my name is Theo
11 o'clock, eh? Man, I tell you, I'm tired of sleeping, man. I just confuse something else, you know. But in the meanwhile, we got to stay locked down. But I got so much things to do today in the government. You still got to keep your hands sanitized. You still got to keep your hands sanitized. But I can't sleep like this all day. Man, super washing open. Super washing open. And I got so much children. And as I got so much children, I don't know how I can get my clothes clean. Island tips, my boy. Island tips, girls. Anybody, any cat island in the house, come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. The prophet got some tips for you today. Super wash closed down. The city shut down in this curfew. And you gotta make it happen. Real talk up in here, up in here, up in here. But Super Wash closed down. Yeah. All the laundromats closed down. But there's 5 days from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and this Easter weekend, Monday into Tuesday. That's like 6 days. But I got a lot of clothes I need to wash. These clothes got my house smelling bad. I won't mess up my nails, man. My nails. My nails, so shoe, man. My nails. I don't want to mess up my nails. Girl, you know what to do? Take off them nails. Take off them long fingernails, girl. My boy, take off them rings. Take off them expensive ring. Take off them expensive nail. And what to do? Get one bucket. Some of you got a little pump, right? And I need to wash all my clothes dirty.
Well, just a reminder, keep those videos and pictures coming in on how you're passing the time in the government-imposed lockdown, or if you want to salute those on the front line. The number 477-0546. And remember to stay tuned to the ZNS Network, your best choice for local, regional, and international COVID-19 coverage. We are the only station providing you with live radio and television updates throughout the day, giving you up-to-the-minute information. Our coverage continues at 10 on radio and then on the television network. Good morning, everyone.
I's a coconut got this, cocoa skin driven mad.